Alright guys, today we're going to learn how to evaluate an order of operations problem. Pretty simple as long as you remember the steps on how to do it and what order they go in. There's a couple different ways that you can remember it. A lot of people just remember the acronym for each thing that you have to do, which is PEMDAS. So you can remember it that way, or you can remember it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. A lot of people, that seems to kind of stick with them. That's the way that I remembered it when I learned this when I was in school. So it's really whatever works best for you and however, whatever way helps you the most. So those are the two ways that you can kind of remember in what order you're going to do each step. So we have our problem over here. The first thing that you would do is you would go through and you would ask yourself, does my problem have any parentheses? Your problem sometimes may not have parentheses. In this one it does, so that would be the first thing that you would do. And then once you have evaluated that part and you have solved what's inside of the parentheses, you would move on to exponents. You would ask yourself, does my problem have any exponents? In this case it does, but it may not always. So then you would evaluate that part of the problem. And then you would move on to multiplication and division. So multiplication and division, they kind of go together and are reversible. You can do multiplication first or the division first or vice versa. I usually look at the problem first once I've gotten it narrowed down to that point, and I really ask myself which one would make the problem easier. And so that will kind of be a decision on your part on whatever one that you think would be easiest to do first. Once you've completed both multiplication and division, if your problem has both multiplication and division, then you would move on to addition and subtraction. In this case, you do the addition and subtraction. If it has both of them, you do them from left to right. That is the most simple way to do it. Not every problem is going to have both addition and subtraction. In our case, it does, so we'll look at that when we get to that point. But in that case, you just do them from left to right. So again, pretty simple. As long as you follow these steps in this order, you should get the problem correct. So we're going to go ahead and look at the parentheses part and ask ourselves, does our problem have parentheses? And it does. So I'm going to grab my green pencil here. And what I typically do when I'm solving these problems is I either circle or underline. Let me make that a little bit smaller. I either circle or underline whatever part of the problem I'm focusing on, kind of just brings it forward and brings it to my attention so that I know what part I'm actually solving. And then once I have that circled or underlined, I bring everything else down. So I'm going to bring down my 9 minus 5, and I'm going to bring down my division symbol. And then I'm going to go ahead and evaluate or solve what's inside of my parentheses. So 8 minus 3 is 5. So now I'm going to replace what was in my parentheses with whatever my answer was for that problem. So I brought down my 5. Then I'm just going to bring down everything else after that. So that part's pretty simple. Then I have my 6 squared. And then I'll come over and I'll mark off that I have completed that part of my problem. So the next thing that I'm going to look for is, does my problem have any exponents? And you're looking at what you have newly rewritten. And in this case, my problem does have exponents. So I'm going to grab my blue pencil. I'm going to circle that to bring it forward, just brings that to my attention. I'm going to bring down everything else that comes before that. So 9 minus 5. Divided by 5 times 2. And then you need to go ahead and evaluate that 6 squared, or 6 times 6. And in that case, 6 squared is 36. So I'm going to bring down that and replace that 6 squared with 36. And then I get to come over and I get to check mark this off. And I know that that step is completed. And then we come to the multiplication and division. So this is the part that I said that you kind of have to do it at your own discretion, so whatever you think would work best. So I'm looking at the two different options that I have. So I can either do 5 divided by 5, or I can do 5 times 2. For me personally, I would rather just do 5 divided by 5 because I know that 5 goes into 5 one time. My answer is 1, and that's pretty simple. So I'm going to do that one first. So I'm going to bring down my 9, my subtraction symbol, and then 5 divided by 5, like I said, is 1. Bring down everything else after that. Times 2, and then plus 36. I've completed that step, so I get to come over and I get to check mark that off. And I know I have to, if I have multiplication in my problem after I've completed my division, even though I've skipped that step, I know that I have to come back up and do the multiplication part of the problem. So I'm going to grab a red pencil. I'm going to circle that part to bring it forward. I'm going to bring down everything else. So 9 minus, and then I'm going to solve that. So 1 times 2 is 2. And then bring down my plus 36. And then I can come over and I can check off that I've completed my multiplication part. And then real quick, I forgot to circle this, so I'm going to make sure that I have that circled. And then I'm going to come down and look at my addition and subtraction. Remember, I said that you do that from left to right in whatever order they come in. So in this case, my subtraction problem comes first. So I'm going to do this step first. So I'm going to come over, grab my orange one. I'm going to circle that to bring it forward. And your subtraction won't always come first. Obviously, your addition may come first. So you may have to do that. You may have to actually do the addition before the subtraction. In this case, the subtraction just comes first. So 9 minus 2 is 7. Bring down my plus 36. And I know I get to come over and mark that off because I've completed that step. And then I'm going to do my very last step, which is 7 plus 36. So you can circle that one if you want to. You don't have to because it's your very last step. 7 plus 36 is 43. So your final answer on evaluating this order of operations problem is 43. So like I said, not very hard as long as we go down each one of those, we check mark them off in our head because you won't always have something to kind of guide you through that. That's why it's important to remember PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And then I'm going to show you guys a little video that might help you even remember the steps and how to complete them even more than how I just explained it. So let me take you guys to that. Make it full screen.
Parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division in the same step, addition and subtraction, if you got the nerve, from left to right, first come, first serve. Parentheses first, 2 times 4, the product's 8. Are you ready for more? Exponents next, 2 squared is 4. Let's move down like we did before. Time to divide or multiply. Let's see what we got. Take a look at the signs. Divide the 8 by the 2. The quotient's 4, and we're almost through. It's finally time to add or subtract. 8's the answer, and that's a fact.
Bring that down.
Parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division in the same step, addition and subtraction, if you got the nerve, from left to right, first come, first serve.
2.
Parentheses first, 2 times 6, the product's 12, put it back in the mix. Exponents next, 3 squared is 9. When you know the tricks, it don't take much time. Now we divide or multiply. Let's see what we got. Take a look at the signs. 9 divided by 9 is 1. The answer's close, man. We're almost done. 4 minus 1 has a difference of 3. When we add the 12, we get 15. Parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division in the same step, addition and subtraction, if you got the nerve, from left to right, first come, first serve.
Okay, so super catchy little video that they have going on there. Hopefully that helps you even more kind of memorize the steps and how each one of them gets solved. Other than that, I hope that my explanation will help you evaluate order of operations problems in the future.